to our genuine benefit, and therefore defensible in Steinbach's view. The moral status of animals figures prominently in debates on the use of animals in research. Talked a bit about the use of animals for food. Now it's the use of animals in research. Animals are often used to investigate the course of diseases, to test new drugs, and sometimes to test new surgeries. Whether or not animals have moral status equal to that of humans, it is generally agreed that the amount of suffering an animal endures in the course of experiments ought to be commensurate with the benefits of the experiments. That is, if an animal is to suffer, it ought to be in the course of advancing science or medicine, and not for trivial research that is of little value. This notion is reflected in the International Guiding Principles for Biomedical Research Involving Animals, a document produced by the Council for International Organizations of Medical Sciences, or CIOMS. That's C-I-O-M-S. And this is one of the organizations whose principles guide research on animal subjects in the United States. According to these principles, whatever the moral status of animals, they may be exposed to significant risks in research, but experimenters have a responsibility to minimize pain, distress, and discomfort. Also, alternatives to animal subjects like cells or computer models must be used whenever possible. While Singer argues that the use of animals in research is only justified when using a human of comparable mental capacities would also be justified, philosopher Carl Cohen argues against the animal rights view. According to Cohen, only human beings have moral rights, and thus speciesism is justified to protect human subjects and benefit future human patients. As Cohen writes, using animals as research subjects in medical investigations is widely condemned on two grounds. First, because it wrongly violates the rights of animals, and second, because it wrongly imposes on sentient creatures much avoidable suffering. But neither of these arguments is sound. The first relies on a mistaken understanding of rights. The second relies on a mistaken calculation of consequences, and both deserve definitive dismissal. Rights, Cohen argues, are claims that one party has on the behavior of another party. Some rights are grounded in the law, some in concepts of morality, but what makes rights distinctive, he claims, is that they can only be defended among beings who actually can make such claims on one another. This is what makes human beings the only beings capable of rights, Cohen asserts. Humans, he says, confront choices that are purely moral. Humans, but certainly not dogs or mice, lay down moral laws for others and for themselves. Human beings are self-legislative, morally autonomous. Animals lack this capacity for free moral judgment. They are not beings of a kind capable of exercising or responding to moral claims. Animals therefore have no rights, and they can have none. And because animals have no rights in Cohen's view, this is what makes animal research acceptable. They have no rights to be violated by research. Cohen does agree that we have obligations to treat animals humanely, but he thinks that humane treatment does not entail treating animals as if they were human or as if they had rights. Cohen also finds the fact that animals sometimes behave in human-like ways to be irrelevant. He says, quote, "It is not the ability to communicate or reason, or dependence on another, or care for the young, or the exhibition of preference, or any such behavior that marks the critical divide. Analogies between human families and those of monkeys, or between human communities and those of wolves, are entirely beside the point. Actors subject to moral judgment must be capable of grasping the generality of an ethical premise in a practical syllogism. The moral restraints imposed by humans on themselves are thus highly abstract and are often in conflict with the self-interest of the agent. Communal behavior among animals, even when most intelligent and most endearing, does not approach autonomous morality in this fundamental sense." Thus, Cohen asserts that it is not behavior that makes us morally distinct from animals, but the way in which we guide our behavior. Humans, he argues, have special moral status by virtue of our capacity to act according to moral edicts that are abstract and that at times will have us behave in ways contrary